Hello, boys and girls, ladies and gents from all over the world. This is called You Are Watching Talking Ball, and I'm glad to have you here. It's Monday, so that's no good for anybody anywhere. I am off work tomorrow myself, but for the rest of the world, Monday, but I hope everybody's doing good. Hope wherever you're watching from, whether you're catching this live or on the replay, I just hope you're having a good Monday. Quite a weekend. We'll get to that in just a second. Before we start really with the wildness, with the party that I have planned for you today, I just want to say thanks to a couple of people, to a lot of people. Thank you to everybody who watches this show, tunes in live or on the recording. Thank you. There's so much other stuff you could be doing with your time. I truly appreciate it. I also want to go ahead and thank Chris Peters, first ever Patreon member, and Wayne Bonner, second ever Patreon member. Great dudes, wonderful people who are supporting this channel in a way they can, and I truly appreciate that. It's going to help me to upgrade my set and to get new things and just to kind of bring you guys a cooler, better, funner show. And we're all about fun here at Talking Ball. So again, thank you guys so much. If you want to become a Patreon member, there is the link. Please, God, don't feel any obligation. Just hit the like, hit the subscribe, just as helpful. And I truly appreciate that as well. Last chance to grab some stuff here at our merch store, talkingball.printify.me/products. We've got a hoodie, an old school hoodie. It's got Steven Bergwijn on it. Doing his celebration, says Talking Ball. That's a piece in time. That's a rarity right there. Grab that. And we've also got the summer tea, the hot dog tea, as it's also known, going, and will soon be gone. Okay, so enough of that. Shit. Let's get to the real fun. We played a team yesterday, some mid-table nobodies, and we got a draw, which is upsetting. Like I said, mid-table nobodies. These guys, I'm surprised that they were even able to field a team after having to move from their original, location just to keep their team alive. They came out with a decent team yesterday, decent match. How do we all feel? I see we got 5 people in the comments. What is up? What is up to the 5 people watching right now? God bless y'all, by the way. And to everybody watching on repeat, God bless you too. And God to me is not the same God as it is to everybody else. It's just something. Hope you're blessed. Let's put it that way. Hope you're blessed today. But yeah, the link is in the chat, everyone. The link is in the chat early, a little earlier than usual, but that's just because I'd like to get some input. I thought the match yesterday was good. Thought Arsenal did a good job of penning us back. We noticed it a lot playing out from the back, I think. And I'm sure not just me noticing that. Adrian Stroka in the house. Good afternoon, all. Good afternoon yourself, bud. Hope you're doing well. Adrian, do you think that Arsenal did a good job penning us back? They sure looked like they were doing it to me, and it looked very planned. It looks very on purpose. Arteta had them drilled to do that. They knew that if they kind of camped out at the edge of the box and waited there, that they could then rush our defender as the ball's being played out to them, kind of cause them to panic and maybe do something dumb. And that is a strategy that seemed to work. Arteta is a lot of things, ugly, weird, strange, but stupid is something I don't necessarily think he is. Unfortunately, I would like him to be, but I don't think that he is. And I think he tactically set them up in the best way possible to play us. Fortunately, though, we have a manager who sticks to his guns, who has a system that works, and we played it. And it was kind of the whole unstoppable force versus immovable object. That's how you say that. That's how normal people talk. But it was kind of like that, and it was really cool to watch it play out in real time. And again, I'd just love to know what you guys thought of it. I was really disappointed not to win. I'll talk more about that. But John Fitzpatrick, my A1 since day one. What is up, baby? He says, big up my G. Big up to you, dude. Hope Australia is treating you well, mate. And I hope that you get back to the motherland soon. We've also got Chris Peters, the man himself, the number one member. He says, afternoon all. I'm working, but listening. Well, hey, dude, thanks for tuning in while you work. I'm glad that you're able to. And hope you don't get in trouble. Be safe, all of that good stuff. Thanks for tuning in, though. It means the world. It's always good to have you here, man. You are a good dude. Always welcome on the show anytime, you know that. But obviously not while you're working. Don't want to get you in trouble. So hope your work day is not sucking total butts right now, unless that's what you're into. And then I hope your work day is sucking total butts. But again, guys, we played Arsenal in the NLD at their house yesterday. That's a game we historically lose. And we lose for reasons a lot like the reasons we got scored on, in air quotes, twice yesterday. Goofy, dumb, stupid stuff happens. I'm not quite at the 10-minute mark yet, but we have to talk about some stuff here with this match. Where do I start? Sheesh. Their goals. First of all, the handball rule. Is it consistent? Is the handball rule consistent at all? I understand that we would have been very angry if we weren't given a handball in the same exact situation, where it hit Romero's hand or arm or whatever. But it was literally this far away. He had no time to move his arm or anything like that, even if he wanted to. And it kind of did look like, as you watched the video, that he was moving his arm away. Sorry, but you know what I mean? I understand the intent doesn't mean anything anymore. I get that completely. Fair enough, but how close can you be? If your hand's at your side and I just launch the ball at it and it hits it, is that a handball too? Maybe it is. And maybe I'm misinterpreting the rule. Kind of has me salty a little bit, like the old one in the Champions League final, which, believe it or not, that's coming back up in the show too. Weirdly enough, but is this a question to me? No, because they play their matches in the library. We can't hear anything. Yeah, this is probably a song that I don't know. Haven't ever heard. I'm sorry, John. I'm letting you down. But can you hear the Arsenal sing? I can't hear a freaking thing, says John Fitzpatrick. Nice song, buddy. I wish I knew the tune and I would sing it for you. Everyone would hate that. I would lose viewers instantly. But guys, so North London Derby. Let's talk a little bit about that handball. I mean, so am I like I said, am I not understanding the way that the handball rule works this season? I know it's changed. Someone here with a lot of knowledge that I'm going to bring in. He's a lot of knowledge. He's full of knowledge. He's full of lots of stuff. You know what I mean? But here he comes. It's the one, the only, Adrian Stroko. What's up, bub?
Yeah, fine. No, still basking in gaining a point. Although we have got a case for saying we're disappointed of only getting a point. But Spurs fans should have a nice warm glow inside them today after that result.
I think they do. They do.
And they should, and they would have been giving it large to everyone that said that we were going to get thrashed and bashed all over the place. I mean, Paul Merson's end up with egg on his face like a lot of them. It was just that arrogance that gets you. You know, we know we've improved under Ange in a short period of time. We still know we don't even know what our ceiling is, and we've got a long way to go yet. But if
we've got all these people telling us,
we're definitely going to be in the top four. I mean, Man City will win the league, in my opinion. But you know, I haven't seen Liverpool, but they're doing really well, and they've sneaked into second. So
I watched a bit of Liverpool, and they have a really good habit, good in their eyes, but habit of scoring late and coming together and winning late, especially twice with 10 men. I don't know. So they've got some heart. Liverpool are a good squad. And we're going to talk about that in a second because they coincidentally are the
team. We'll see how they do. But if we spank them Saturday at 5:30 UK time, then which is better for you guys in America, that late kickoff. But if
I like the early ones, to be honest.
Up. I mean, to me at the moment, second, third, and fourth are up for grabs, and fifth, and that gets you Champions League. and you only need 69, 70 points, and we're not going to drop 40 plus points this season. So I think we're a given for Champions League next season. But that itself comes with the issue of, like, if you're going to compete in Europe, especially the Champions League, you've got to have a squad.
Bolster the squad. You're going to have to get some new
Otherwise,
signings.
what's the point of, apart from grabbing the money, which Levy would probably want, what's the point of being in the competition otherwise? You've got to be able to give it a go. We don't mind, but, you'd like to think that at least, all right, top clubs out there, you'd like to think you could make the quarterfinals, but that's a long way off. It's all, I'm hypothesizing now because obviously I don't know what we're going to do in the January transfer window, and I don't know what we're going to do in the summer transfer window. So I'm sure we'll bring players in to improve us further. But yesterday's game, on to that.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what did you think about the goals? First of all, their first goal.
Well, they couldn't score an open play. Vicario made a good palmed away save earlier on, didn't they? Romero's lucky. He's facing the goalkeeper. If you look at the video, there's two Arsenal players behind him, but he don't know if someone's to his left. A few people come and said, "Well, if he'd let it go, the ball goes wide."
Here.
Yeah,
well, exactly.
Right,
exactly.
Wayne, John, and Chris. Yeah, if you let the ball go, you can let the ball go wide, and it would have gone wide. But the point is, Romero doesn't know if anyone's running in from the left. As the balls come up to him at an awkward height, he has to deal with it. It is his job to deal with that ball. It was just unlucky.
Agreed. Yeah.
And the penalty, 100%. Well, I'm with Ange on this one. I don't even know what. There's no consistency with the handball rule, is there, on penalties? So we're all up in the air. We could talk about it for hours, but we wouldn't even get anywhere, would we? Because, we don't know. It's down to VAR and the referees. They're the ones that need to get their act together on that and explain to us.
Exactly. As fans, I think we deserve to know. We deserve. Yeah. We're watching the match. We need to know what's going. We should understand the rules of the game. I've been reading a really good book lately called "Inverting the Pyramid," but it's talking about football through the years and the change in tactics and agreed upon rules, and how for a long time different areas would have slightly different rules to the game, and since there's been a big consensus and everybody's come together on the rules, and so Argentina plays the same rules as England, plays the same rules as the US, but if we don't understand the rules, then what, what's the point in having them? So I think that they definitely need to come out and tell us exactly what the rules are, because it was, I swear, big up Leo, by the way, I swear the ball was this far away from Romero's hand or arm or whatever when it was kicked, and his arm was in the position that it would be in when you slide forward. And do you think that plays anything into it, or should it? The distance between the kicked ball and the arm? I know that you said you didn't really want to talk about it, and I don't.
No. When you're falling like that, it's sort of awkward. If you're standing, you might have more of a. If that was down the other end and they'd done it, I'd want the penalty.
Yeah, no, I get that 100%.
Right? So, it was given at the end. It was given, wasn't it? We've seen them given and we've seen them not given. So it's one of those, isn't it? It's just one of those.
Once they called him over to the monitor, it was game over. It was like, okay, well.
I've never known a referee be called over for a monitor and not give the penalty. It's never happened.
I think I would love to see somebody with the balls to do it. That would be awesome.
I don't know if
no minerals.
They get marked down on their games or whatever if they did that or whatever.
They're probably worried about it. You're right. That probably is in their mind. Am I gonna be picked for more jobs? Because it's a big deal for those guys, not just the money, but the prestige of getting picked and being a referee. And as we've seen, a lot of referees want to make it about them and be the center of attention out there. And luckily, I don't think that's what we had yesterday. I don't think the ref influenced the match to that extent, unless I'm wrong. How do you feel? Do you think that the referee played a role in them getting a point yesterday?
Not really. It was dubious when Nketiah went from Vicario for that challenge. In normal time, it looked bad. If his studs had been up and he'd caught him, he'd definitely have gone. If the ref had sent him off, I don't think VAR would have even interfered. I think that would have been one of them, they leave it to the referees, not clear and obvious error. It wouldn't have been an error to send him off. He stayed on. I don't think We always say we don't.
Did he get a yellow card? I can't remember if he got a yellow card at that.
I can't remember. Does anyone know in the chat know whether he got a yellow card?
Yeah.
If you're going to let him off, I don't think you're going to book him.
True. Yeah, because then exactly. If you're going to give him a yellow, then why not just give him the red that he deserves? That makes good sense. Yeah, I'm with you. So I mean, the referee didn't. I guess then have a huge part to play. Like we've already talked about the main controversial aspects of the match. There was also was there a penalty shout for us that I remember in the first half? I had been there were fluids.
Thanks, Chris. Thank you, Chris. He got a yellow. Right, yeah.
Even weirder.
It didn't go to VAR. I think a ball pinged in the area, but that wouldn't have been a penalty. I think it was another handball thing in the area, wasn't it?
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, the players didn't even react to, what I mean, too intensely. Yeah. So, Hotspurs is in the house. What is up, Hotspurs? Big up all. The Gooners are writing the book of excuses to be released soon. Well, hey, I will grab that and give it a listen. I actually do audiobooks now. I said I was reading that book earlier. I just listen to books in the car. Wayne Bonner, though, the ball had already gone when Nketiah crunched Vicario. I don't know if he got a yellow, but he deserved a red. Unimpressed with the ref again. Who was the referee yesterday?
It's a good call, Wayne. It's a good call. I mean, it's one of them. I suppose just because we've got the draw, we're not as being as firm on these incidents in the game as we would be if we'd lost the game. We'd be up in arms, wouldn't we? Be screaming. So,
for sure.
Got a point. And I learned something yesterday from Ange. I mean, in my lineup, I never in my wildest dreams expected Brennan Johnson to start. Mainly because I thought maybe he wants someone up there who gives us a bit more defensively, But I got that wrong. But I don't mind getting it wrong because I learned something. What I learned yesterday from Ange is he doesn't expect his front three to track back. And, all right, we know Decky gives you defensive qualities from the front. He'll defend from the front. He's one that does it. So Ange doesn't expect that. And then what I noticed later on was Udogie I thought was awesome in the second half, right? He got the yellow card.
That kind of slowed him down a little bit. It made him think a bit more about all the movements he was making.
Mickey van der Ven then stepped up. I thought he was superb. And he was coming across to help out on the left-hand side, Van der Ven. I thought I had my man of the match obviously was Son, but then I had three players equaler. That would have been like Basuma, Madison, and they were a little bit quieter in the first half. Basuma, Madison, and obviously Udogie. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you do ratings. Do you do ratings on your podcast at all? Player ratings at all?
We haven't really in the past, but I would be down to. I would be totally down to. We could absolutely do that. Because I don't have
you can let the chat join in as well. You see when you do that, which is always good.
Absolutely, yeah. So everybody in the chat, let's go through and let's do some ratings. And we'll start out with like a 1 to 10 or a 0 to 10, but don't give anyone a 0. Come on now. 1 to 10 ratings. Just the Spurs players for yesterday. And let me get a banner pulled up. We'll start with Mr. Vicario in the goal. I'll start real quick with Vicario. I think that Vicario had a good match. I think that he made some really good saves, at least 2 great saves that I can remember. The goals that he let in, that massive deflection on the one. And then he almost got his feet to the penalty. He makes more saves with his feet than any keeper like I've seen ever. But I'd give Vicario a solid 7.5, and maybe even up to an 8. That's a tough one for me. I'm bad at rating players. That's why I don't do it much. But Adrian, what do you think?
I'll give him a 7 for the saves and all that. I'll give him a 7. And when I've done player ratings and other podcasts in the past, if we're away from home and players play well, they tend to get better marks from me when we're away from home than when we're home because it's harder to do, So, and as it's the North London derby and we've come away with something, I'll probably be possibly a bit generous with my marks throughout this team,
Nothing wrong with that. So before we go to the next player, I just want everyone to know that coming up, we still have an episode of Keeper West Ham, so nobody run off just yet. Keeper West Ham is coming up. Okay, so next, I'd say let's go from left to right. So we'll go from Vicario to Udogi.
For me, I thought Udogi was like awesome in the second half. What the reason I'm going to give him an 8 is because he got the yellow card and he didn't go lunging in or do anything silly. I was surprised Arsenal didn't play the ball down that side more often
They
than they
tried a
did.
bit. I think they did
Yeah,
somewhat, but yeah, you're right.
like
They didn't just.
in the second half though, what really impressed me, Doug, he's a bit like Romero when he gets booked. It didn't let him affect him that much. He still went in for challenges. He did look at a few. He thought, well, I might
Right.
not make them, so I won't go in. But
Mm-hmm.
I
No
thought,
fear.
yeah, I was very impressed. Gets an 8 from me.
I think an 8's a great rating. I think I would go with 8 also. You know, we all knew that Saka was the player they were going to try to play through a lot. You know, that he's one of their star players. He's a great dribbler and a good progressor of the ball. So we knew he was going to have the ball a lot. And so I think they did kind of target him in a way. They knew that he was dangerous in the sense that he's a great defender. He can match Saka for speed. And so, you know, they almost, I think they were trying to get him to get cards. I think they would have loved it had he got the second yellow. And that's kind of what they were trying to do, but I just don't think they were successful. Like you said, he played real smart in the second half to avoid that. Smartly, but also still firmly went in for challenges when necessary, when he needed to, when he could, like you said. So yeah, I'd say an 8 for Udogi for me as well. And I think I might have missed some people in the chat too with Vicario. If anybody's had Vicario, yep, Wayne Bonner. Sorry, I'm going too fast. This is my first player ratings. Bear with me. But he said Vicario just keeps impressing me with every game. We got a gem with him and at such a good price. And do you remember how mad everyone was, Wayne? Everyone was shitting their pants. They were like, we didn't get Raya. And I mean, while Raya is a good keeper, I don't feel like Vicario is any worse. Again, that's me.
And
And
we don't know,
see.
do we, with the goalkeeping situation? We don't know who our first choice really was.
True. We never know. We never know.
It might have been down to money. We definitely know Vicario's a Paratici signing because we were looking at him before, but we still don't know if he was our first choice or not. I mean, maybe Raya was our first choice. I don't know. He's a good goalkeeper, so, you know. But I believe we've got a gem. When Buffon raved about Vicario, I thought, well, and there was all raving about him being Italy's second goalkeeper, and he's probably about third choice and all that. And now we're seeing it. He looks so confident now. He looks so confident.
Yeah. And the way that I like what about him is he kind of consoles our defenders. If our defenders do something stupid and then the ball is kicked, but then, you know, a last second save is made by him or another defender bails us out, he will literally go over to the player who made the mistake and pat him on the back. And I don't know what he's saying, but I assume he's saying, hey, don't worry about it. You know, we're good. We got this. Turn it up, you know, put it behind you.
Yeah, he comes for everything. His catching's very good. He just comes with confidence. Some of his kicking yesterday was a bit off, but he's got an accurate throw on him. When I've seen him throw the ball out, he's accurate enough, you know. And he's at Brentford, he was throwing it to the halfway line, you know what I mean? So, no, he's good. I mean, like, he's just good. I mean, like, and
I agree. And John Fitzpatrick gave him a 7. Which I think is a little low, John, but you know, hey, everybody's entitled to their opinion. But yeah, so we got Wayne Bonner here talking about Udogi and just keeps showing a level of maturity beyond his years. Another gem. That's true. We forget how young this kid is. Super young kid. Who is coming in here and impressing. I think that we did a really good thing by keeping him on loan last season. I think that was wonderful for his development. He's come here looking polished and like the real deal already. Adrian, you seem to have been impressed with him in the match, as was I. I think we got us. So Danny Rose is kind of, as I've been watching Spurs and through the time I've watched Spurs, Danny Rose has been the pinnacle of left back for us. He's like the best left back that we've had, both in attack and defense. Really, he was very modern fullback. Udogi looks like, I know we're just a couple of games in, but looks as good, if not, you know, maybe the opportunity to be better than Danny Rose, which is crazy.
Yeah, and I think in Nigeria, he's even played as a playmaker. And you see when he comes forward into midfield, you know, he's got a decent pass on him. He's not like a and I'll, just kick it in the touch merchant when things get difficult. He
Yeah,
tries
exactly.
to ride tackles and push on with it, So no, he's we I don't know what's happened. We seem to have got lots of big fast players in that have clicked all at once, or Ange just waved a magic wand on them.
I think his style it just suits him. We've got players in that the style suits their play, and so it's been easy for them to transition into it. It is my only, and I think it must be fairly simple in its approach and what he tells the players to do, maybe, and so they're not thinking as much, just playing. I don't know. That's just me. Chris Peters gave us a couple answers at once. He says Vicario 7, Ugodi 6, and Van de Ven 8. He went ahead and he kind of talked a little bit about his Ugodi, explained the Ugodi rating, said that he gave him a 6 because he seemed a little nervous at the start. And I can see it. I don't think he seemed nervous. I think he just he looked up for it to me, Chris, but hey, definitely allowed to have different opinions. That's what's beautiful about the world. Your others are pretty spot on. Vicario 7. We haven't got to Van de Ven yet, exactly, but we know you give him an 8. I can't argue with any of those scores.
I would give Van de Ven an 8. I thought he was superb.
Yeah,
he was superb yesterday. He helped out on the left, and against Sheffield United, he had a little bit of a torrid time against McBurney in the air and all that, but he just dealt with everything. Maturity again. He's 22. And I just thought, and I'm going to praise these players up big time because this was an away game at the North London derby, team that finished second last year, and they couldn't even get a goal in open play against us,
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal. And to think that in the defensive areas where we've had the most trouble in recent years, and now, our defense is we've kind of got some stalwart defenders back there. It's wild to think. Chris Peters said no one expected we were going to dominate the game. Ars fans thought we were going to be exposed because of our high line. We didn't play as high of a line as we normally do, but I think that wasn't by design. I think it's because we couldn't get out from the back. But yeah, Chris, agreed. We did a great job. We outplayed everybody's expectations, and it always feels good to do that. John Fitzpatrick gives VDV a 9. Okay. Or no, 8. I can't read it. These shades make it a little hard to. All right. 8 there. I can't argue either. He's so good and built so strangely. He's one of those players that's like looks too skinny for his frame almost or something, but he is obviously a very strong man. VDV 8, solid game, says Hotspurs. Yes, we are all in agreement here. I think an 8 is right around where everyone's going with him. It's just quality. Another gem showing class, quality, and maturity beyond his years, says Wayne Bonner. My man Wayne. You're 100% right. I don't know how we keep unearthing these guys, and if Postecoglou had anything to do with him as well as Brendan Johnson, we're in for a treat because we've got a freaking chairman who loves to sign young players. And then we've got a manager who seemingly also loves to sign young players. If we can keep unearthing people like this, I know neither of those guys were cheap and neither of them were exactly unknowns, but still, they're both players that we took a punt on and are giving playing time to at a very young age that are working out well for us. If they continue to work out, we're either going to have sorry, I forgot what year it was. We're either going to have Madrid or Barcelona coming in for these players, or we'll be achieving such success that they'll just want to stay with us.
This is a whole different atmosphere at the training ground with the players now. They're all happy. They're loving the system. They like Ange ball. And when you create that atmosphere, unlike the pressure black cloud atmosphere over the ground when we had Mourinho and Conte there, who like to put pressure on the players instead of inspire them and motivate them, then it's, of course, they're not going to want to leave Spurs and go to a team that doesn't play Ange ball, doesn't play to suit their style of play, wants to impose restrictions on what they do with the ball and where they should be on the pitch and all that. So, no, I agree with you. I agree that no, happy players don't want to move anywhere. They want to stay, So,
100%.
Our players leaving is going to be an issue. And I think as soon as they run down, we can't let what happened to Kane and Eriksson right? Even though we got money for both of them.
Luckily,
we
got
have got to be ruthless now. I mean, we get down to 2 years on your contract. You either sign a new one or we sell you. And I don't care who it is. I mean, because we can't afford to let you run down. I mean, you might end up with a world-class player. You might bend on that rule as such, but you should be sold if you're not willing to sign an extension. They're going to offer Sonny a big extension. He's only 31. He could play to 35. He could play to 35. Sure. You know,
for sure he could. Yeah,
good anyway. You know,
absolutely, 100%. He's not asked to do a whole lot in Aaron's ball except make those short runs. He could absolutely play for years and years.
He had 18 touches yesterday. He scored 2 goals, had 3 crucial passes or something like that. And, you know, I mean, we'll come to him later. We'll move on to who is
So we're going Romero, and so there's already been a nice Romero comment here, and it's from Chris Peters, of course. Chris, the man himself. Christopher says that Romero had a North London Derby PTSD. A poor bloke. Give him a 5, to be honest. Yeah, I'd say 5, 6. I mean, he definitely had a bit of a mare, but like Adrian was saying, he had to get a leg up and try to make a block on that ball coming in across, or that shot, I guess, coming in across. He had to. We'd have been mad at him had he just watched it go by him, you know. So he tried there. And then the handball, I don't think he was really that poor. The more I think back on it, I just think he was very.
He wasn't in the second half. In the second half, you notice he steps into midfield and he pushes up to the penalty area. In Italy, he used to play in a free, and he was often stepping into the midfield because he's a good passer. I don't care what anybody says. He's a good passer. And
now he's got Van de Ven to cover for him too. So that's another good thing. Hotspur gives him a 6. Shame the own goal, but he kept his head throughout.
I'd give him a 6.
He didn't let himself get down.
Yeah,
I
think 100%. The 5's a bit hard. Chris Peters, I think 5's a bit hard, but that's your opinion. It's fair enough.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd give him a 6. We're away at Arsenal. I'm giving him a 6.
Yeah, I agree completely. 6 is what I give him as well. So far, Adrian, we're stealing each other's scores here. Romero is calm now that he has a proper keeper and defenders around him. He played well, but the own goal and penalties seemed to knock him a bit. Yeah, I mean, I could see that, and I would expect that in a way. You know, no matter who you are, it's going to rock your confidence a bit to have an own goal and then a handball leads to another goal. But he didn't let his head drop visibly. He still, I don't know. I didn't really see much of a drop in quality or a head drop from him. So that's good. So, and then I guess that kind of moves real quick. I was just throwing up the link. If anybody else wants to join us, we're having a good time in here, Adrian and I.
Yeah.
This is a good idea, Adrian, with these ratings. So the next person on our ratings is going to then be Pedro Porro. Let me fix the banner here. And do we have to say Pedro Porro or can we just say Porro? Everybody says both names. I'm wondering if do I have to? Whoever, if anyone knows, let me know. But ratings, Pedro Porro. I think Pedro Porro had an awesome match. Awesome.
I'd give him a 7. And I've been highly critical of Porro.
Yeah.
Because
I think better than
the pre-season stuff, the game at Newcastle and Leicester last season and all that. But I don't know what they're doing on a training field, but keep it up because Ange seems to be getting a tune out of him now. I mean, a Burnley game, he's passing a killer ball forward for Son to score. And now, all right, he got a bit caught flat-footed for that Burnley goal, I thought. But even to me, I have to eat my words. He's looking, Hotspurs, I agree. He's looking good. He's looking good and solid as if he's adapted to this inverted position. So long may it continue, you know? I mean,
he could defend. He defended yesterday. So now I know he can do it. He put in tackles. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there was one competent. I mean, down the flanks when they were pressing us, were under pressure. I mean, he was challenging. He put goals out for throw. I mean, he gave one he got back to give away a corner, which looked very threatening across the line. The corner one I see. Yeah, he played well. No, he played well. Good, 7's good enough, yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. You know, don't want to get too high on him for just one match, but yeah, he looked good going forward and back, which he's always been good going forward. So the back part was what impressed me. And you know what? I'm going to give him a 7.5. I'm going to go up 0.5. We can do 0.5s, by the way. Wayne says that Porro's fitting in perfectly to Ange's system. He looks comfortable. and confident. And I couldn't agree more. Whenever we were being pressed and having a hard time playing out from the back, he looked comfortable and confident. Then he was relaxed. He and calm there, which I think was important in us being able to play out from the back the way that we did. So yeah, long may it continue. That brings us though into the midfield now. I believe Adrian. And we said we're going left to right. And I honestly don't remember how he lined up yesterday. Was that
just pick one of them? It doesn't matter, does it?
Basuma. It's Basuma.
Basuma, I think in his stats, his passing, he took like everyone took a little while to get going in the first half, but he come more into it in the second half. Rice went off and all that, and I think I read somewhere his passing accuracy was 94.7% or something, right? So,
just want to say, me and Chris had the exact same score for Pedro Porro. We are on the same wavelength, dude. I agree completely. Nice
if you're giving halves, then I'm going to give Basuma 7.5.
Okay. And your reasoning was, you said that you thought it took him a while in the first half, but then once they took off
Rice, got better, but
yeah. But they like you said, took off their better.
Yeah, I actually thought. I mean, we had more possession than them, believe it or not, but we had about 53% to theirs. So, we completed more passes, and a lot of these passes. Yeah, Hotspurs. You know what? Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. I'm going to give him an 8. Solid. He gets an 8.
Boom. You've talked him up. You guys have officially changed Adrian's mind. I don't know if I've ever done that. So congrats, everybody. He's had his mind changed live on my show. So, yeah, I think that he had at least an 8 of a game. I'm trying to think of anything bad that he did, really. He did get dispossessed a couple times, which was uncharacteristic of him. But like I said, they played us perfectly in a lot, congested certain areas and made players dawdle on the ball and then, capitalized on that. And so I think he got caught on the ball twice. But I remember that was kind of ugly and very un-Basuma-like of him. But that's okay, and that happens, especially in a derby match when you're, the best ball carrier on a team. I mean, you're going to get targeted, and he did. But yeah, everybody's saying that he controlled the game 100%. He is, I don't want to say the new Moussa Dembele, but he is performing that role. That same role of progressing the ball up the pitch, breaking lines. Slow to start, looked himself in control in the second half. 7.55 says Piers. All right, that's fair. Once he settled in, he started the game slow. It took a while to play his game. Yeah, you and Adrian are on the same page on that one. Also a few fouls. And that's okay. It's a derby. I want him to, but just be smart. Once you get that yellow, calm down. And I don't know, actually, what I just said is kind of stupid. I mean, as a central, midfielder in an important match, you don't even want a yellow because then that, changes your game. And so, yeah, I get it. He needs to maybe be a little smarter with the fouls. Good point. All right, let's move over to our SAR boy, Pape Matar Sarr. What would you guys give SAR for the match yesterday?
I'd give him a 7. And the reason is, again, more for showing maturity in this away game. I mean, especially at Arsenal, give him a 7. It wasn't his best game, to be honest, but he was solid, And I've watched videos of him before he come to Spurs. This kid's got such a high ceiling. I've seen him score penalties. I've seen him score from outside the box for his team. He's got good vision. He can move the ball quickly. His positional play is good. He seems to be what his best position is. I think he's got a very good all-round game, and I couldn't honestly say what his best position is, but I think Ange is utilising him in the best way possible for Ange Ball at the moment. We may see him be used differently in other games. I don't know. So I'll wait and see. He is going to be a star for us, though. I'm confident of that.
Oh yeah, he's going to be a star. How old is he? He's another one of those players that's so young. And he's just mature, playing at a high level.
Yeah, he qualifies. next season he qualifies as homegrown, because if you're a foreign player brought to the club and you are registered for 3 years for that club before you turn 21, you're classed as homegrown. So that's also good, because if you ever do have to sell a young player or a foreign player in the academy, we know that the Premier League prices, there's a premium on Premier League players. So if a foreign young player doesn't make it, when you sell him, you're going to get more money for him if he's homegrown.
Yeah, but I don't want to sell him. Like you were saying.
No.
So I'm sorry, I'm getting this comment in here real quick.
Yeah, he's only 20.
Only 20. That's crazy. He gets a 7 from Chris Peters.
22. Kulusevski's 23.
We went from being an older team to, again, we started out under Poch as a very young team, and then the team really started to age. And we've gotten back to having one of the youngest squads in the league. I think we're third youngest. So that's pretty awesome. That's great for the future. Saw a wise head on a young man. Exactly.
Yeah, he doesn't panic. He doesn't panic. He's cool on the ball sometimes. Yeah.
And I know he's got a man's body. He's already grown into it, but he's only going to get, I feel like, bigger and stronger. Still, he hasn't quite hit that peak yet. I think at 20, I think you still got a little bit longer of like muscle growth and stuff before you kind of peak out. So yeah, I mean I don't want him to get it. So tangent. I feel like Gareth Bale gained so much muscle at Madrid in such a short time that it affected his game at first and led to a lot of his injuries, carrying too much muscle on his frame. So I'm always wary on like telling players to go beef up in the gym, because if it's working for you right now, it's working for you. But I think Sarr with just a little bit more muscle tone would be wild. So he's only 20. I threw this comment up saying that he's making me feel old. And at 31, I don't think that Levy will pick me up. I'm too old of a player for Daniel. Couldn't get much return on me. So my hopes of wearing this kit or wearing one of these kits on the pitch is not likely. So Basuma, we pretty solidly an 8 all around. Sarr got pretty solidly a 7 all around. So let's turn and let's now go to everybody's favorite person ever, Matters.
Solid 8 for me. He gets the 8. Although in the first half he nearly gave the ball away on the penalty area.
That was very un-Matters like.
And Jesus blasted over the bar, didn't he? So that was a bit fortunate. Or Jesus is not the greatest finisher. He's a good player, but he's not the greatest finisher. So an 8 for me. I mean, it was Maddison who robbed Rodrigo, wasn't it, for the second goal after they scored the penalty, wasn't it? And slipped it through.
Yeah, it was. It was him. It was Maddison.
Just for that and his 2 assists, he got the assist on the first goal. I'll give him an 8. Yeah, not bad. Chris Peters 8.5. You could do that as well, but I'll stick with me 8.
I'm going 9.
Fair enough.
I think if he hadn't gotten injured and had to come off, I think if he and Son, okay, two hypotheticals here, but if he and Son hadn't come off, I understand that they needed to, that if, and we'll look, I need to look at this and we'll do it live on the show if Madison's any news about his injuries come out. But if he really had injured himself and, had ligament damage, the longer he played, the more damage he's doing. I get that. So you had to take him off. But I feel like had Son and Madison stayed on, we had a much higher chance of actually grabbing that third goal. Also, this is something Chris Peters threw out, but I'd also been talking about it. Imagine if Perisic was available yesterday when Richie came on. That would have been crazy. I before the game I said 2 Sonny goals and a late Richarlison header. Didn't happen quite the way I thought, but close. But yeah, so back to Matters. He got an 8 from Fitzpatrick for making both goals. Oh yeah, and the first goal he made, by the way, disgusting. He was like, nope, I am getting through here, and then he just blasted that low cross, or I think it was along the ground, honestly, but he hit it hard. And then Sonny, just the most deft little flick. That was so beautiful. That was a beautiful goal. So props on that. And you're right, he made the second goal also. Adrian and I were just talking about that when he picked the pocket of who was that again? It was that Jorginho? I think
Jorginho, that's not Rodrigo, Jorginho, yeah, the ex.
Yeah. So, and we'll go down here real quick. Hotspur 8.5, 2 assists, and made Rice look average. Yeah, we got the freaking bargain of the summer, guys. I think that Rice was very much an overpaid for player. Madison played his game, pulled strings, created space and chances, and set up both goals. Hell yeah, he did. And Rice pulled out, was too scared to look bad. LOL. Yeah, something happened to him. I hope he's not injured too bad. I never wish an injury on anybody. Anyway, back to ratings. So let's move to the left, and let's go with. So wait, did Johnson start on the left or up top?
On the left.
So let's move to Johnson. BJ, as I'm referring to him from now on, what is your rating for BJ?
I give him a 7.
Seven?
For coping with the North London derby atmosphere. I know he played there with Forest, but this is different when it's Spurs Arsenal.
Yeah, of course.
Raya made a worldie save from him. No, that looked a goal.
The one that he palmed out a bit.
He showed. I didn't expect him to start. I got that wrong, but he showed that he's going to be a good player for us, a good threat. Got a slight tight hamstring. That's not too serious. I mean, it means you wouldn't risk him if it was against Liverpool. He's either okay or we've got lots of options on the left. Solomon can come on and play there, so it's Richie can come into the team and play. So he'll be fit and walking wounded. I mean, even Maddison come off with a knock to his knee or something, but he wasn't limping or anything, and. You wouldn't be pulling his leg about as a physio if you had a serious issue with your leg. So I just think these are knocks that players do carry, and they'll all want to play on an range ball. No one wants to give up their place in the team. So, no, I think Johnson will be fine. Will he? I mean, we don't even know if he would have been in the starting lineup to face Liverpool anyway. But I fancy Ange likes his pace, doesn't he? So.
Can you imagine? I know Solomon's played on the right a lot in his life. Yeah. Solomon and Johnson on the wings would be absolutely chaotic, but in a cool way. Maybe we'll see that someday. Maybe we'll see that. But yeah, I'd say Johnson. I know he, like you said, got injured and had to leave, but he had 2 really solid chances. At least 2. There was one where he, brought the ball down and then had a shot. I don't know. Is 6.5 too low, Adrian? You think?
You make your own decisions. I mean, I could understand a lower vote for him.
Yeah,
I could understand if people gave him a 6, but I'm giving him a 7 because it's the North London derby, and you're playing in a hostile atmosphere. And this was our young players weren't intimidated, were they? They weren't intimidated at all. They just went out.
And that's down to Ange. That's because the players last year, even the senior players, would have been, would have been intimidated last year. These young guys who weren't, that's all down to Ange and his mentality, I think, coming through to the players. Johnson 6 could have scored a goal, could have, but like we're all saying, he's a young buck, Chris. Give him a break. But yeah, I agree.
Anything 6.5 I think it's a fair result. But we're in an North
London
derby, and I'm a bit generous because I hate them.
Yeah, dude, I'm sure Ange will mold him into a very top player, man. 100% agree. 100%.
Yeah, Hotspurs, I agree.
Yeah, he does need a bit of time, but he'll get it. And I think he'll literally get it on the pitch in the Premier League because that's the type of manager Ange is. So now we're moving to everybody's favorite player, Heung-min Son, the new face of Tottenham. Scored a brace in the North London derby to replace the North London derby king that we had leave us. And I honestly think I know he really wanted that hat trick, and he might have got it. What does everybody give Sonny? We'll start with you, Adrian, Mr. Stroka.
A 9 from me. I mean, that first goal, he had 3 players around him, and he flicked it into the corner. It's one of those goals that surprises you as a fan because it's not like a shot and bang, it's in the net and you see it go. And it's just it's just a quality finish, such a quality finish. And he's such a good finisher.
He takes
lots of stick because Son's a streaky player. I hope he's going to improve on that now. He normally gets goals in clusters and then he don't score for a few games and he gets goals in clusters again. So I'm hoping Maddison's been saying he's been developing an understanding with Sonny, so it looks like I'm getting to know his games, which means that when he's in a certain position on the pitch, Maddison can expect him to make a run and know where to put the ball or try to get the ball to him. So, yeah, he scored 2 goals from Maddison. So, the second one, Still an accomplished finish when Madison won the ball off of Jorginho.
Yeah,
9 for
not
me.
as difficult, but yeah,
9.
definitely. I think 9 is absolutely fair. You could even
Man of
go
the
as
match,
far as to
9.
say, yeah. I mean, if there's ever a time to give a 9.5, for me, it's now. I think I'm going 9.5. I see a lot of 9s in the chat. Hotspurs, what is up, brother? Son 9, true player, plays with his heart. We love him. He loves Spurs. Yes. 9.5 for me. Chris Peters, another 9. Yeah, he led the team, and he does. I wondered about him being captain and how that would work out. It seems like it maybe took him a game or two to warm up to the role and the change that he had, because he wasn't the main man. He wasn't the one giving instructions. He wasn't the one, voicing his opinion as much. But now that he's, warmed up to the role, I think he's great. I loved his, convincing the team to do the team huddle over by the away fans, and that I forget which match it was that they talked about that. Did they do that yesterday? I wonder. Anyway, but regardless, I just like Sonny and the way that he's Sonny 10 top class finishing. Boom. Yeah, I mean, he didn't really have a chance to score anymore. We took him off. So Sonny was awesome, as he always is. And then finally, and this is going to be the one I think it's like the least. It's going to be like the least fun, but we've got Kulu now. What would you give? What would you give Kulu as far as a rating goes?
I'd give him a 7. Wasn't his best sort of game, and people need to understand what he actually brings to the team with his ball to retention. He's always there for the out ball, just to take pressure off the team. If he wasn't there yesterday, I think you'd find I'd go wide left field and say they would have got a lot more joy down that side, and you never know what might have happened score-wise, So, and also, what I get the argument sometimes fans say, he's all left foot and all this, but what you have to understand with Kulu is, because he made such a good start when he first came here, I think he's only played 54 games for us. But in them 54 games, I think he's got 8 goals and 15 assists. People can double-check that on me. So you're looking, he's had 24 positive influences on the team when we played. So in virtually nearly half his games, he's had a positive effect. That is a sign of a quality player, right? That's a quality player. Stats back it up, So I like him. I'm a big favourite of his. So I'll naturally be a bit biased in his favour. But yesterday.
So Scott M, if you're watching this, the stats back up. Kulu is a good player, and Adrian gives him a 7. Scott M, if you are watching this, Kulu is good. Get over it, Scott. Scott does not rate Kulu at all.
Yeah, I know lots of people on podcasts don't rate, and that's fair enough. That's their opinion. I'm just giving mine.
Well, I mean, I think
doesn't mean to say that.
Yeah, he's still young. Like we said.
I would never say that. So.
Right. No, I agree completely. You're 100% right. And when the choice, it seemed like at the time, was either him or oh god, what's that quick dude that went to Liverpool instead? Diaz,
something like that. The winger.
Diaz, yeah. So he's obviously very different to Kulu.
Fair enough,
people would have rather had Diaz. That's fine. Fitzpatrick says Kulu 5 for me. He needs to step up. All right, yeah, like Adrian and I said, totally fair. I don't agree, but the beautiful thing is that we can remain friends and not agree. But no, I think that he's did way better than a 5. John, come on, what else does he need to do? Let us know. And what else is goal and assist every other game, or goal or assist every other game? I do think that maybe he could start to go down the line a bit more and try to cross with his right and not cut in every single time just because that's what he does. It's obvious. But that's really my only complaint. Really my only complaint for him. So yeah, that's the team. That's the ratings. Adrian, do you know what time?
We haven't done Ange. You've got to do Ange, Colin.
Oh, okay. Well, let's do Ange. What's Ange's rating? No subs. That's too long. But Ange, we'll do Ange. I want to say that I give Ange, especially for it being his first North London derby, I want to go ahead and give Ange 8.5. I think there was a time in the match where he could have, and maybe should have in the first half, been brave and made a change and brought on. This is going to sound really stupid, and I probably shouldn't say this out loud, but where he should have brought on Højbjerg. And I know that's dumb, but I think there was a time where they were really overrunning us in midfield, and Højbjerg for Sarr might have been a good option at the time. That time passed, and we got past it. But I don't know, just some subs he could have made earlier, it seems like, and just everyone's going to get maybe exposed a bit on their first and NLD 8.5 for me. What do you think?
I'm going to give him a 9. I'm going to give him a 9 and joint man of the match with Sonny. And the reason I'm going to give him a 9, because I can imagine the screams of "Take Udogie off because he's been booked and bring on Davis." You can imagine the fans. There were loads screaming for that. I bet there was. I mean, like, I watched the game on my own indoors.
If anybody was screaming for Davis, that surprised me.
I think his calmness on the touchline helps the players, stay calm as well, because he doesn't get flapped. He's not full of histrionics like Arteta or Conte running up and down. I'm not against that. Managers do that and they're showing their passion for their team. Fair enough. But so 6 games undefeated. You can't.
That's awesome. You can't ignore that. That's
you
for a player, a manager that's new to the league. The highest level he had coached at before this was the SPL, which no offense to them at all.
And no doubt, a lot of the media turn around and say Spurs only got a point because Arsenal won on their game. The usual crap we get off of them. So,
which is hilarious because they only got 2 goals because we weren't on our game.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, Adrian. It's totally ridiculous. So Ange gives him an 8. Should have been a 9 had he kept Sonny on when we were trying to win the game, or we should have tried harder to win the game. Agreed, John. I agree personally.
Yeah, Ange has said in post-match interviews that the reason that Sonny and Maddison were taken off is because they were carrying knocks before they went into the game. And I'd rather not lose either of them through injury, through overplaying them. So obviously he's fault. Well, we could have still. I mean, Richarlison had a late half chance. I mean, this
2
game
of
was
them
still there for winning. They looked tired. They did, Arsenal. Although they pressed, they in their last 10 minutes they were on it, but they didn't have much of an idea, did they? They seem to lack ideas to me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm being a bit too critical of Arsenal, but I don't think there's nothing wrong with that actually.
Exactly. I'm be as critical as you'd like. My cousin's a Gooner, and haven't talked to him since the match. We talked before. Actually recorded it. Thought about putting it on the channel, but decided not to. But it was a nice little chat. We talked about he was one of the other ones that was not worried at all about Spurs and thought this was going to kickstart their season and be that win that Arsenal needed to get to springboard them into. It made me laugh whenever the result was done, but. Anyway, Adrian, that is enough Arsenal. I've talked so much about Arsenal these last couple of days. I never want to do it ever again. And so I think we should do something fun instead.
Well, just one more thing on the Arsenal before you move on, right?
Okay.
I just want to say that when they come to our place, it's very late in April, right? Yeah. And although their fans were bragging they're going to tonk us in this one, it didn't feel. We will tonk them. And I'll tell you why we're going to tonk them at the new stadium.
Tonk is a word an expression I've never heard. But we
will batter them, right? And the reason we will batter them is because Ange ball. We're seeing signs of Ange ball when players play Ange ball instinctively without him having to lecture them at half time or shout at them from the touchline. When we're in the groove of Ange ball, we'll blow them away. Don't forget we've got a transfer window to get through as well in January. So we can see a couple, at least 2. I expect at least 2 recruits in, but we'll see. It's very hard to get players in January. Clubs don't want to get rid of their best players in January unless you pay them loads of money. Clip it, Chris. Clip it. Yeah,
it's been clipped already. It's going to be all over the internet, Twitter, Facebook. I'm going to post it to your Facebook group. No, just kidding, Adrian. I would never do that.
If you want, I'm not bothered.
Hey, you're a good dude. But no, I agree. It's going to be a different match. I can't wait. We'll have been, like you said, playing Ange ball for an entire year. Everybody will be more accustomed to the style. It's going to be great. I have no doubt that we will take all 3 points at our house. No doubt at all. And I'll put money on. it. I put money on this one, and I lost it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward in hope in certain areas of the team as well. What I'm looking forward to is I mean, I don't know because these players have been written off, but in about 3 weeks' time, Lo Celso will be fit, Sessegnon will be fit, Gil will be fit. All right, we know Perisic is out for the season.
Yeah,
You know, if Ange can get a tune out of one or more of these, that'll be a bonus. I mean,
definitely.
the rumours is that Gil and Lo Celso will go, but if they get game time, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, if they can prove that
And,
they can play, yeah, they might get the
who
offer
knows?
too. For sure.
Because
For
Gil's
sure.
fast as well and tricky. You know, I mean, like Sessegnon, he's shown a bit in a couple of spells when Mourinho got him to sign full time when he was on loan, so he must have liked him. So we know he's a good player, but he just might not be suited for the Premier League. And if he's a miserable sod in the dressing room, get rid of him anyway. You know what I mean?
All right.
So,
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
if look, we were going to trust Ange. I mean, there's three players. Sessegnon, I get why one's written him off. He's always been injury prone. But this last operation he's had on his hamstrings, which are the muscles in the back of your leg, they said that should fix his problem for good. Well, fine. Now
That's what they always say.
he's got to show us the form he showed at Fulham and when he scored that goal against Bayern Munich away and things like that. That's what we want to see.
Yeah,
And we want to
absolutely.
at least Ange will tell him. See, this is I think Sessegnon hasn't looked as good. I like there's a player in there. I know there's a player in there, right? But I think he hasn't looked good because when you're playing under negative managers, he's been frightened to take players on in the final third and kept stepping back and passing the ball back. I think one of the best games I've seen him play was when Jesus was at Man City and he was on the left. I think we lost the game, but he played very well against Foden and Jesus, right, in that game at Man City. And I thought, yeah, you've got it, but you've got to be like all players. You've got to be consistent. Hold your plays down. So, and then with Sessegnon, where do you play him? Left back, left midfield, left wing.
Left wing. Yeah.
So
and I think
I'll let Ange worry about that.
Yeah, but I think
I don't want him. We'll sell him. We'll get takers because he's homegrown. So we'll get.
I think previous managers also had this thing where I think you were so afraid to take a risk because if you made a mistake, you'd lose your spot. Where I feel like Ange will be more forgiving of mistakes like that because he's asking players to go out there and take risks and take chances. On that note, before anybody loses it, we're going to get to their favorite game, Adrian. We got people in the chat that just need this in their life, and I need to give it to them. So here we go. It is the internet's favorite Tottenham game show, Keep or West Ham. Hello, everybody. This is Colin again, and I not only am your host talking while I'm also your host of Keeper West Ham. Here with Adrian and the rest of everyone in the chat, we are about to play today's edition. Adrian, I'm sure you're aware, but for those in the audience who are not, Keep or West Ham is a game where two Tottenham players are presented to you. You must choose one to keep at Spurs and one to banish to West Ham forever. West Ham's like my least favorite team. I hate it. So that's what's hell to me, basically. So we have to remember too, Adrian, that these players are in their prime in this hypothetical, and we also have to consider who we're sending to West Ham too. I mean, we're going to be bolstering their squad. Anyway, let's get right to the first matchup. It is Ben Davis versus Benoit Asuakato. We've got one steady Eddie in Ben Davis, and we've got one really good, in my opinion, left back who has been on record saying he doesn't even like football. He just plays because he's good. And I'll bring this back up in a second. But yeah, Adrian, I just wanted to know what you know, I'm sure you know both players well, as I do. That's BAE was right whenever, or BE Benoit Asuakato. Yeah, BAE was right whenever I started watching and following. And so, it's where I got to know him. You'd already been, Spurs a long time at that point. But what do you think about those two guys? Is it a hard choice for you?
It is, but I mean, like, Akato was good going forward with him. He wasn't I'd say out of the two, Ben Davies has been more consistent, probably with the club longer as well. I'm not sure how long Okata was with the club.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I'm
I'm not
going
100%
to take
sure.
the left, probably what others at left field. I'm going to go with Ben Davies.
Yeah,
I just think he's a solid, reliable, and I'm not sure Okata was watching one. I'm remembering his games. I know he scored. I think he scored. I think Otto was manager when Okata was there, wasn't he?
I'm not sure if he was there that long. I know that he played under Redknapp for sure. But he was a great player. Great player.
I might be thinking of someone else. It's the problem when you go back time. It clouds the mind a bit. Like when
it does.
When you're trying to tie players down to Pacific time zones, unless it's a cup final or something like that, or
he used to have like a really big, like poofy afro that would bounce around a lot when he ran, if that helps you remember him at all. But yeah, anyone in the chat, I've noticed, so we've got less people watching right now, which is no big deal. If you're watching this on repeat, get your answers in the comments, please. But to everybody else that's here watching, again, here are our choices in the first, matchup today of Keeper West Ham. It is BAE versus Ben Davies. And yeah, I'm picking Ben Davies as well, but it's tough for me. I sort of weirdly love Akato because of him not liking football. Like, to him, it was a job. He played because he was good, but he didn't love it. You could be like, hey, did you see that match against? He's like, nope. And we get players that would come to the team that were big names, and he wouldn't know who they were. And it was cool stuff. I loved it. But Chris Peters says Benoit Suakato all day long for him. Hold on, Chris. Yeah, we're gonna have to have you. We're gonna have to have you explain if you can, if you have a second. Hotspur says in Ange's team he would keep Suakato as well. He was more dynamic in the fact that he could run faster, so he was up and down the pitch more. I could see maybe that being what everyone likes about him is his speed. Ben Davies gets a lot of hate, but if you can't tell, I love the guy. But I understand that he's not world class or anything. I just like him for being a steady Eddie, good servant to the club. But yeah, Suakato maybe burned brighter while he did burn, but just not for as long. I don't know. It's tough. Everyone's kind of making me want to change my mind, which is the beauty of this game. The beauty of life is having your mind change. So, yeah, that one's tough for me. I still think I'm sticking with Ben Davies, but it's closer now than it was. And if someone puts something good in the chat, I could have my mind changed for sure. Adrian, this one I'm going to need your help on. I picked a player that I don't know much about, but I know you do, and I need you to kind of help me with this a bit, if that makes sense. Here is our next matchup, sir. Steve Perryman versus Moussa Dembele.
With me, Steve Perryman, the week. Different players, different style of players. Perryman would would bring the ball forward, very good with the old 1-2s with player, very busy player, good tackler, fantastic captain, played something like 853 games for Spurs. No one's played more games than Spurs than he has. Jennings would have played quite a few, probably about 600, I'm not sure. It's Steve Perryman. Look, Moussa Dembele is a fantastic player, holding the ball and all that. I'm surprised he had any ankles left the amount of times he was kicked in them. But for me, Perryman won 6 trophies. He won 2 League Cups, 2 FA Cups, and 2 UEFA Cups. That was without his. He only got 1 England cap, which was against Iceland, I think. But he got a lot of young honours as a player.
That's weird that he didn't get capped for England any more times. I mean, because I've heard only good things about him from Spurs fans, of course. But yeah, I do like your description. It sounds like Perryman would be very good in this Spurs team that we've got, that we're building right now.
Oh, he was a leader. I mean, he was in the old time. I mean, now I don't think leaders mean much. They're just PR and like. But no, Perryman for me. You look at the period of time. I mean, like from 1971 to 84. I think he was with the club for 14 years.
Whoa. Yeah, that's a little longer than Dembele. So they both. It sounds like they both. I mean, Dembele brought the ball forward. He would, but he would usually do it by beating a man or two himself. He wasn't the best passer of the ball. I don't know if Perryman had a good passing range on him. Dembele sure did not, but he could make some short passes, some nice crisp short passes. To me, I mean, obviously, I didn't see Perryman play. Dembele though was just such a joy to watch. He made the game look easy. And he was important to our Spurs team because we saw how the team sort of fell apart whenever he left. Eriksson suddenly became less effective because he had more work to do. He didn't have, a midfield partner that was going to occupy two defenders and successfully come away with the ball. So I'm sure they were both very important to their teams. I don't know, with the way that you've described Perryman, I'm sticking with Perryman. I think I'm going with Perryman. You've got me indoctrinated into the church of Steve Perryman. I'm in it. He said, Chris Peters says he was a hard man too. Well, that's all you got to say for me. I love me a hard man, someone that's going to tackle hard and like really just 2 foot somebody sometimes. I love it.
He was a good tackler.
Love it then. He's definitely my choice. Well, thank you guys I always love a bit of education when it comes to Spurs. This one is silly. This next one, which is our final one of the day, is a silly one, but I liked it. It's Joe Rodon versus Stephen Cocker. Both defenders that didn't play much at Spurs. Stephen Cocker played way more, but yeah, ability-wise and, at their peaks, who do you take? Adrian, we'll go with you on this one.
I don't take any of them.
Send them both. Just send them both to West Ham.
I'll send both of them to West Ham and give them a few quid as well.
Oh, wow. That's, yeah. See,
I mean, for Joe Rodon, the man he cost 15 mil, we could have bought, if we'd have been brave at the time, we could have bought Kim Min-jae. But
yeah, we could have. Absolutely.
I know. But if we hadn't gone through all that turmoil, we wouldn't have ended up with Ange and the exciting team we've got now. So,
Yeah. Hotspur says flip a coin. Yeah, no, that's. I want to make some of them hard because both players were so loved, and then some of them hard because both players were so shit. And you guys can tell which one this one is. But again, I'll put it back up here. It is Joe Rodon. Look at that pose. Know him, do you? That's the famous Joe Rodon thing because Twitter stuff, Adrian. No, it's stupid. But then, and then Stephen Cocker.
Cocker must have played more games than Rodon. Rodon didn't really get more games for him,
Cocker got his start in the Europa League. I think his first match for a senior match was Lazio. And then he got a couple of league starts after that and sort of established himself for a while. But I think he had some off the field troubles. He was touted though to be a really big deal. He's just the same age as I am. He's 31 now. He is the captain, I think, of what country is he from? He captains it's an African. I mean, I know he's English, but he's got African heritage, and he captains. Hold on, let me look him up. He captains the team, and so I mean, just think it's crazy though to think that he's 31. Like he could still be having a career right now, and he was at such a high level. He looked to be ascending with Tottenham, but then I think the off the field stuff is what got him. He is the Sierra Leone captain.
All right.
Yeah, center back. He was born just 10 days after me. Stephen Cocker. Yeah, man. Hopefully you're doing well. He has a thing out, a big documentary out, says What I Hate About Pro Football, the Dark Side of Pro Football, featuring ex-Liverpool star. Oh, I didn't know he played at Liverpool. Ugh. All right, well, Joe Rodon for me, everybody. Then that's enough that I need to know. Said the same as Adrian said. Send them both. Yeah. Hey, man. I get it. But the thing is, you have to pick one. I'm picking Joe Rodon because he never played for Liverpool, and even though he didn't play much for Spurs, he seemed to love him, as Cocker did as well. But still, Cocker played for Liverpool. That's gross. Okay, so in that vein, let's real quick. We've ended. That's the end, everybody, of Keeper West Ham. Nice job, Adrian. Thank you for your help with that. I do appreciate it. That is that. back to the real world. We've got a match against Liverpool this weekend, and I just want to know: are you still mad about that Champions League final and that stupid handball that wasn't a handball? Because I'm still mad about it.
Look, we're over that now, but it was never a handball in my opinion. But it makes you wonder if what we could get into conspiracy theories here, couldn't we?
Good. Maybe we should.
Didn't want Spurs to win that cup, So and we were the better team after that, and they got a late goal with Origi, didn't they, to make it 2, which probably spared their blushes a little bit. If that game had finished 1-0, I mean, Liverpool weren't great that day. Don't forget, we had Winks in midfield with Sissoko for that game, as I recall. You know what I mean? And we still gave them a game. But to me, Mora deserved a place in that final because of the 3 goals against Ajax. And I just think, this the choice of team selection. You could have brought Kane on for the last half hour or second half or something. But Mora deserved to start in that final. I think that was a big... I mean, it's easy to be clever with hindsight when you've lost the game, but he deserved to be in the starting lineup, even if then at the expense of someone like Dele Alli, even at the time, if you're going to play Kane. But it wasn't to be, so we moved on and we're over it. We're used to this at Spurs fans when
things kind of go against us a bit, and it needs to start fueling us. So I feel like in the past it's like knocked us down. Made us shrivel up and give up. Whereas now I hope under Ange, if these type of things happen, it fires the players up. That, that loss in the cup, we came back after that, haven't had a loss since. Maybe this is finally a team that, when those bad things do happen to us, I think that, I think that we'll be able to make it through it, So I'm excited for the match against Liverpool. It's going to be a nice one. We always have kind of a hard time against Pool, but we've always played such a vastly different system than what they play to. And don't get me wrong, the system that system that Postecoglou plays and the system that Klopp plays are 2 very different types of very different types of attacking football. And real quick, just in your eyes, Adrian, what would you say is the biggest difference, in the 2 systems? I think there's a lot that's similar about them. Even the fullbacks kind of inverting a bit. They usually have a fullback that kind of steps into midfield. Usually Trent Alexander-Arnold. I think.
I'm confident because I think we've got one of the best midfields in the Premier League. You could even make a case for it being the best when it's on fire. Up front, I think both teams have got similar firepower. But at the back now, I'd put our back 4 up against any back 4 in this league now. And at Liverpool's back 4, they're doing well this season. They were a bit shaky. Van Dijk came back for an injury and all that. He's not the player he was when they initially bought him.
No, I think really not. He's getting older.
I think you can hit balls over Trent and get at them. But we'll see, wouldn't you? They're a good side. They wouldn't be where they are if they're not a good side like Arsenal. We'll take the game to them. It'll be blood and thunder, and I think we'll edge it. But
I do too. And hey, Adrian, I'm really dumb, and I could look at this up. But are we home or away? Is it at Pool?
We're at home.
Yay! That's lovely.
It's 5:30 kickoff, so it might be 12:30 where you are if you're 5 hours behind.
6 hours.
So I don't know this time of year. 6 hours. Are your clocks changed yet in America yet, or what?
Nope, not yet. But I assume they will be soon. And then real quick, we got my cousin here who's not a huge Spurs fan, and we're talking about other stuff. But then they say, "Wish you could have watched the game, fellas, but you had to pay for it." Oh, so you didn't watch? You didn't have the game available to you, so you would have watched it. Okay, well, yeah. It's hard for even some people in England to watch Spurs matches at times.
But you can go and watch the highlights on YouTube.
Absolutely, and you'll see the amazing goals from Heung-min Son. So definitely go check it out. So I'm not afraid either, Adrian. We've been going for about an hour and 20 minutes. I'm sure we're boring people by now, but hey, I just want to say, Adrian, thank you so much for being on the show, man. Is there anywhere that you would like people to come check out, or anything you would like to to promote or anything like that?
Well, you can find me on my Twitter here, and on the Twitter, you'll find a link to my Spurs Facebook group. If you use Facebook, of course. If not, doesn't matter. So that's there.
There it is, right down there.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And then you can either, if Spurs fans add me, I always add them back. So if you do add me, I'll add you back, and I need to see that you are a Spurs fan on there.
Oh yeah. Well, definitely go follow Adrian and then join his Facebook group. It's massive, thousands and thousands of members, growing by the day. Go check out Adrian's pages, both Twitter and Facebook.
If you guys in the chat are interested, there is a good YouTube channel you can go to, which is called Football Made Simple. 3 words: Football Made Simple. I'm going to suggest on there they do the proper analytics of games that are played, not necessarily Spurs games. There might be Liverpool, Man City, and all that. But if you go to Football Made Simple, type in the box of all their videos, the importance of Zone 14. It's only a short video, about 6 minutes long, 6 or 7 minutes, and it'll give you an insight into how the modern game's played tactically. It's only a 6 or 7 minute video. I'm not saying Football Made Simple, and then type in the importance of Zone 14. I think you'll find it enlightening.
Well, you heard him, everybody. After this show finishes, don't go yet, check out the importance of Zone 14, a Football Made Simple. And while you're checking things out, maybe you should check out Talking Ball's Patreon channel, where you have the chance to be like Chris Peters, to be like Wayne Bonner, to help this show grow. And everybody, you're all helping the show grow. If you don't want to become a Patreon member, there is no pressure. You do not have to, but you can if you want to. I do ask if you could at least just hit the like and subscribe if you haven't. We're growing every day, folks. We're 252. We're on that road to more. I don't know. We're just trying to get more people around to watch and hang out. And there's also merch. Talking Ball merch. It is cool stuff. If for some reason, if that link doesn't work, anybody leave me a comment, and I might have that incorrectly. It's looking weird to me right now, but cool Talking Ball t-shirt and a cool Talking Ball crew neck sweatshirt. They're both really neat, and I think people would like them even if they didn't know what Talking Ball was. So just check those out. And again, everybody, thank you for coming by. As the banner at the bottom says, today is your day, so go out there and get it. I hope everybody has a wonderful day. Adrian, any closing words?
Chris wants my Facebook page. If you go to my Twitter, you'll see the link there, Chris. That's if you use Twitter, or X Twitter as it's called now. And you can just click on the link and go there. Yeah. And
there's his Twitter. I know that it's already on the thing, but I put it in the chat as well, Chris. Mm-hmm. So check out his Twitter there. You should be able to go to that like on a computer, even if you don't have Twitter. You should be able to pull him up. And then after that, you should be able to see his Facebook stuff. And if not, I'll send you a link to it personally, Chris. Let me know if you need it. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. It means the world to me. I got to go get ready for work. I'm running late. But again, thank you, everyone. And come on.
Cheers, guys, in the chat. Let's try and get some more people